What's going on, everybody? I know I'm late, but I'm here. I'm here. It's been 3 years. I thank y'all for sticking with me. I'm not going to play the usual. You know what? I am. To give y'all time to catch up with me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play that intro that you guys are used to, just in case there are some other people who are running late. It's raining out here again, so y'all just stick with me. Hopefully, my Wi Fi will be all right. So, I'm going to go ahead and give that intro to give y'all time to catch up with me. Hello, and welcome to the Real Ram Fam. On my channel, I intend to provide you with a safe platform to discuss the intersections of your entire being, to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, in mission or position. There is no one like you, and we all have a purpose and message. I, for one, am a black woman, mother of four, a military veteran, and a wife, and a social worker, just to name a few. From my channel, I hope that you learn more about military families and social workers. 3 of the social work values are my aim in each video: importance of human relationships, dignity and worth of the person, and social justice. No matter what you initially think when you hear social worker, there is more to the profession. Trust me. Stay locked in by subscribing to the channel, and be sure that you hit that notifications bell so you don't miss any new uploads. Without further ado, on to today's episode. So what's going on? What's up? So yeah, it's been 3 years that I've been on YouTube. And those of you who have stuck with me, I would like to thank y'all for sticking with me. Yeah. 3 years, a triad. So my intention is to try something new. And what I'm gonna do, well, kind of new. This is gonna be the new way that I do it. So you see the banner scrolling across the bottom. I have created, a little slideshow of things that have happened throughout the last 3 years. It's not everything because a lot of the stuff are in individual videos on YouTube, but it's just some of the things that my family has been through throughout the last 3 years. So I'm just going to share this little small video with you that I put together with a little bit of music for you in the background. I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving. Now we going north, going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving. Now we going north, going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I got the key. We've been really moving places, always on the low. I was shining in the tunnel cause I got the glow. People really hating and it really starts to show, yeah. We gon' level up again cause that's just how we roll, yeah. Came in with the sauce, yeah. Learned out from the boss, yeah. I've been learning lessons from the struggles and the losses. Praying for community for the races since we lost it. I done had enough of it for all the pain and do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving. Now we going north, going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving. Now we going north, going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I got the key. Going up, think I need a picture. They showing up, but I gotta shine today. Oh my God, you paid. Drip too hard, can't catch his way. I find myself, I ain't the same. Can't trust nobody. So much pain. Walk right in my head, went through the ride. This for the lost souls, don't need no fame. But they go down my name. Going up. I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving, now we going north, going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving, now we going north, going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I got the key. I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving, now we going north, going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I can't do this anymore. I need the adapter left my past all on the floor. Plug this up and charge while I'm on, because I can't move this at the same time. I don't know. I may have one in my closet, but because it's not picking up. Alex or your daddy should have one. Yeah, the adapter so I can put it in the USB port down here. This the flat one. I've been trying to keep it moving, now we going north, going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving, now we going north, going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I got the key. Going up, think I need a picture, they showing up, but I gotta shine today. Oh my God, you paid. Drip too hard, can't catch his way. I find myself, I ain't the same. Can't trust nobody. So much pain. Walked right in my head, went through the rain. This for the lost souls, don't need no flame. But they go to my name. It's probably, I probably got it. It's in the closet. I got a bag on the shelf full of cables. I sure forgot. I can't do this anymore. You know, it's always something with me. I've been trying to keep it moving, now we going north, going up. It's on the one shelf right there to the right. It's the only one that got bags and stuff in it. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving, now we going north, going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I got the key. It's a 5-minute video I made. Your song is 2 minutes. It should line up together.
You mute it?
Hello.
Which one is it? This right here.
So, all right. So y'all heard all of that. Thought I was muted, but obviously I'm not. Okay. Hey, y'all know it's always something. What's up, Davita? So, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to talk to y'all.
This?
Hold on. Anyway, so let me stop this video from running. What's going on, Vita? How your day been? I'm gonna do a mental health check-in as well. Y'all know I gotta do that, or I wouldn't be me. Let's stop this video. Go ahead, type it in. Let me see how you're doing. And while I wait for the computer to catch up, while you typing. So 3 years. That is quite a feat. Don't worry about it. So I pulled up some videos of some things that I've been seeing that's been happening, that's been going on over the last like week or so. So we're gonna kind of talk about that as well. But I do hope that since you guys have been with me, that you have learned a little bit about the field of social work. But I would also like to ask this question. This is going to be a new question that I'm going to start posing. What do you think and what do you know when you hear social worker? What's the first thing that pops into your mind? Because hopefully, I've done my job so that everyone knows that there are multiple things that social workers do. So it's not catching up, or maybe y'all not typing or whatever. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and stop this banner because there's no music playing. There's no music playing anymore. What do you? So when you hear social worker, what do you think? What pops in your mind? So I'm gonna first pull up this video because we got to talk about a lot of things, and let's start with. Actually, I'm gonna start with DC. I'm gonna pull up some news that happened in DC that doesn't only affect DC, it kind of affects all of us, right? Because there's only certain things that people want to talk about, but they don't want to talk about it completely. So, I have my different views when I hear certain issues. So we're going to talk about here in DC, the mayor requests the National Guard to help with migrants that was bused to the Capitol. This is an article from July 28th of this year. Okay, she requested the activation of the DC National Guard to help with migrants who are arriving by bus to the national capital. Right? She said 4,000 migrants have arrived so far in a humanitarian crisis that has reached a tipping point. She requested the help of the National Guard in a letter to the Office of the Secretary of Defense, and the migrant crisis facing our city and our country through cruel political gamemanship from the governors of Texas and Arizona must be dealt with at a federal level. What do you all think about this? I think that some of these issues, especially once it reaches DC, right? You know that everything is going to be brought to DC with it being the capital. When I read this, right? Because I didn't really know about it. When I read this, I read another article that I'm going to share with you that at first I thought that they were tied together, and they may or may not be. But the fact that they were bused from Texas and Arizona, and I didn't really know that DC was supposed to be a sanctuary city. But the fact that what I would like to focus on is this, that she is asking for the National Guard to help. People still don't understand that the mayor asks for assistance from the National Guard through the Secretary of Defense, right? And she has to wait. She has to wait on a response, just like all of the states. But people like to say that she does not take any action, or that DC doesn't take any action, or that why aren't they asking for this or asking for that? Because this is DC, right? And they think that it should be automatic, or people get to blaming the Capitol Police. If you haven't noticed yet, that always tends to be an issue of blaming the Capitol Police. The Capitol Police, once again, I'm going to clarify this. The Capitol Police only has jurisdiction on the Capitol, on that property of the Capitol. Once you cross the street or into the city or the district of DC, that's not their territory anymore. That's the metropolitan DC territory, right? And then after that, if she wants to call in for the National Guard, that's something totally different. So it's hard governing DC, and I don't envy her. And if you guys want to read this article, you can. I can put it in the. You know what? I am going to copy and put the link in here in case you want to go in and read it on your own. Although it's old news. The next thing that I read right along with this was that ICE finds 73 migrants living in smugglers' stash houses in the Northwest DC. People tend to think that Northwest and Northeast DC are the safer and better areas of DC to live in because it's more gentrified. Well, let me read. Let me read it a little bit further. As it says, the Northwest Quadrant includes some of the city's most affluent neighborhoods, and the median home prices are $750,000, according to the Redfin data. So, immigration agents found, let me tell you the date of this. The date of this is July 28th. So, immigration agents found 73 migrants living in houses operated by human smugglers in the northwest area of DC. The migrants, 60 adults and 13 children, were discovered by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, Homeland Security Investigations Team as part of an operation that targeted 6 residential homes believed to be operated by human smugglers. The agents also found $95,000 and a small amount of cocaine, the document said. So, one more part I'll read. Undocumented migrants frequently pay human smuggling organizations with ties to drug cartels thousands of dollars to bring them across the US Mexico border and to keep them hidden as they make their way to their final destinations in the US. So, therefore, I thought that the two articles were tied together simply because it was about immigrants, right? And then we're also talking about smuggling. But now we're talking about drugs and smuggling drugs, safe havens, right? Now we're going to go back and we're going to talk about how Trump was saying how the immigrants are drug dealers and criminals and all this stuff. Well, tell me this. How did they get from, if these two articles are related, but they may not be, how did they get from the Texas-Arizona border, and in this one says U.S.-Mexico border, how did they get from there to Washington, D.C.? How did they get from there? Criminals, the immigrants themselves did not do this. They didn't get themselves to the safe haven of D.C. Someone helped them along the way. So if we want to talk about the drugs being the thing, who's been hiding them in these houses? And who's hiding them in these affluent neighborhoods? So people can say all they want about an immigrant. You can say all you want that people entered the country illegally, that they have illegal intentions. You can say that all you want. But once they got here and people know that they're here, how do they remain here? That's crazy. 60 adults and 13 children, $95,000 in cocaine. That's crazy. So I'm going to post this link in the article too if you decide that this is something that you want to continue to talk about as well. Because this is, this definitely is not about the dehumanization of immigrant individuals. I want you to think about the human smuggler in this case. I want you to think about the affluent person, the gentrification of Washington, D.C., the fact that people believe that Northwest and Northeast D.C. are better places to live because of the influence and gentrification. I did also read today, I read an article that in Northwest, it may have been Northwest DC, that for about a week now, people's tires have been slashed, like just for no reason. You woke up for like blocks along the way in Northwest DC, people's tires have been just slashed. But people don't want to come to Southeast and Southwest because there's a block, and guess what the streets are? Malcolm X and MLK. You can go right there and you can see homeless. Oh, that was the other article that I need to find. Article and video. I need to see if I can find it. So where there's homeless people, drugs, alcoholics, right there, and people don't want to go there. But right there, you can go there and your tires are getting slashed. People are getting carjacked in Northwest and Northeast DC. It's all the dehumanization of Black people, the dehumanization and devaluing of Washington, D.C. and other urban cities. I was listening to something, and they were saying that Chicago is always the course of the conversation when you want to talk about Black on Black crime. Knowing me, I was probably listening to Clay Kane. I don't know. But why always Chicago? If you want to talk about crime and guns and why we should regulate guns, why does Chicago always be the next thing that people say? Like every time, every single time, even if you're talking about white on white crime, which they never say, people never say white on white crime. They always follow it up with, well, in Chicago, no. And we have to stop doing that. We have to enforce people to quit doing that. Like Chicago is not. Oh, I think it was Big Mike. Yeah, I was listening to Big Mike. That's what I was listening to. So yeah, don't forget about my homeboy Big Mike. Check out the Big Mike drop. That's where it was on Big Mike's show. Yeah. So I can't go find it for you, but go check him out on YouTube. Big Mike drop. All right, so I don't see any questions rolling in, so I'm gonna keep talking to you. Before I come a little bit more current, the next thing that I found, and I'm going to share. The other thing that I found that I'm going to share with you. There's some hot button. Okay, I'm gonna go somewhere else first because this is gonna be a hot button topic. So I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm gonna go a little bit more current. Today, August the 4th, Brittany Griner was found guilty in the Russian drug trial, and she's been sentenced to 9 years in prison. Now, I have not been keeping up with all the comments that people have had to say about this. But I've had a few conversations with my husband about it. And I know through him that people have made comments stating how the American embassy didn't do enough to help her. That people have had stuff to say about, like, if it was LeBron, they would have done better. LeBron or any other male athlete, they would have done more. So I'm just going to read the top sentence that, that Brittany Griner, who has been detained in Russia for over 5 months, was found guilty on drug charges in the Moscow area court Thursday. She was then sentenced to 9 years in prison. The judge found that Griner had criminal intent and said she was guilty of smuggling and storing illegal drugs. So also parts of conversations was that she should have never taken drugs over there into those people's country. So various things have been said. And because I haven't really read the comments myself or haven't been keeping up, there isn't too much that I can say about it and people's opinions. But what I will say is I feel like 9 years is less than what she would get in the States. However, this is a prison in Russia. So it can be a lot worse. than 9 years in the States. But however, let's not forget, Russia is the place where Edward Snowden ran to. He is a totally different person. He is white, and he may get treated a little bit better because he was a whistleblower for the U.S. So his treatment would be a lot different. Now, when people make comments about what happens in other countries and what America did or did not do, when you have not been a diplomat or when you just do not understand how things work in an embassy, you probably should be quiet. So therefore, that was one of those things that I was gonna work on with my channel, is speaking more about what it's like to be a diplomat and how things work, how it is totally different than you just being an American living abroad and also you being military working abroad. So what I have come to know is that whatever articles was released said that when she made the arrangements that were made in order for her to call her wife, um, the number she was given was for her to make the phone calls over the weekend, and that the phone was not answered. Well, what people don't understand is that there's a certain office and department that runs the embassy on the weekend, or should I say, that mans the embassy over the weekend, and that's not the number she was given, or she was given a bad phone number. Yes, there are some people who drop the ball, but when this information is given out to the public has to know this. It's like it's like um it's like if you're trying to call your doctor and someone gives you the number to the operator, you know for a fact that there's no one running the operator switch, whatever the heck we call it, what we call it. There's no one manning the operator station on the weekend. So you would need the number to your doctor. You need their personal phone number when you need. Yeah, I said hospital. Let's just talk about a woman in labor. You cannot call the main hospital switch operator, the telephone operator switch, because there's no one there. Your next best bet would be to call the labor and delivery department, but you have to have the right number. And then after that, you need to have your doctor or your midwife's phone number. So publicly, if some even if you shared this story about how I tried to get a hold of my doctor and I was in labor and boy, I almost had to have my baby in the car because I called the hospital, but you called the telephone operator. Like, no, you didn't call a good number. Or because you called radiology. No. Although yes, in some hospitals, radiology might be manned 24 hours a day, and the pharmacy might be 24 hours, but no, not on average. So when people do not know how an embassy is run, they should not be saying anything. So right there, I see I have a guest, one of my past guests, and it's a good thing that I was just talking about being imprisoned, because that is something that could be traumatic. A former guest, Chris Fulkerson, who is a social, you know what? I'm not even going to say, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little quiz. And welcome, Chris.
Hey there, how are
Hey,
you? You look
if
great. I
you, no,
apologize
you're
for not
fine.
having. What's that?
You're fine. You're fine. It's
Okay,
storming here.
I
What
was
I'm going
gonna
to do
say
is
yes.
do not say what it is that you do.
Okay,
Um, I know who's watching. So, my viewer, if you can tell me what it is that Chris does, because she is a former guest, she's a previous guest. If you can tell me what she does, I don't have, I don't have many gifts, but I have a t-shirt or I have a discount with Rob Naylor's website. So you type in the chat and tell me what it is that Chris does.
That's
Go
too
ahead,
fun.
type that in.
There you
Hopefully
go.
she's paying attention and she ain't and hopefully she's not distracted. Or the first person that views this later. All right, go ahead,
There you
Chris.
go. Hey, how are you? How
I'm
are you?
okay. How are you?
I was excited. I got to pop on and I was listening to you talk, and you're all fired up and like making change and advocating, and I just love it. I'm like, absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And
I'm good. I just drove an hour and 15 minutes. My friend just opened a private practice.
ooh,
And
nice.
so I know I had to go support, because us social workers, we're like a dying breed. Like nobody's coming into the field and everybody's exiting.
Yeah.
So gotta support each other.
Yep, for sure. Yep. So I'm doing another check-in and how is work without saying what you do.
Work is busy. Like work is so crazy busy. Um, and it just keeps getting busier. And I just had a conversation with someone the other day. So I think I'm able to say this without giving anything away. So I'm working on my doctorate in social work right now.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
Right. I'm a year in, and it's just intense and super hard. But somebody asked me, they were like, well, what's the goal here? Like, is this like for your ego? Is this so you can, like the achievement of it? And I said, the work that I do is hard. It's really hard. And there's a cost to it. And I don't know how long I can do this. I don't know how long I can keep building up this cost. And so someday I'm going to need an option to go do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so the doctorate really opens that door. I can go teach at a university. I can write that book that's been on my, mind for forever. I can do speaking engagements, which I can do a lot of that stuff now. It's much easier with a doctorate. But really, I think it's about keeping my own like sanity. Like, hey, yo, like it's hard right now, but it doesn't always have to be this way, which is what I often say to clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a little ego in there. Like I'll be Dr. Chris, which will be wild.
Yeah, that was nice.
Right? I'm
And that
saying. No, I'm still a social worker.
money don't even matter. Still, you got a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
And I'm gonna be using it. I'm be on the airplane. I'm be like, that's Dr. Chris to you.
That's nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm still not going to try. It's probably because I don't have my LI, but
It's a thing. Like I went back and forth for a long time on it. Really, with the pandemic, I felt ill-equipped to
Mhm.
lead. Like I felt like I was missing something, and I just wanted to try and find it. So I am studying quite hard, trying to figure out how to have conversations with people where we can bridge that divide.
Mhm.
There's so many people that I feel like when I start talking, they just tune me out because I'm not saying the rhetoric. And that's on both sides of the political field. Like I really do tend to be a humanitarian, and I'm right. Like if it's right for humans, then I'm all about it. And so that pits me against people sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, but what about the people? Like, what does that mean for the people? And yeah, so I'm hopeful that it'll help me have those conversations. I really am.
Oh yeah.
And I remember one time you had me on, and I can't remember exactly what it was. It was the military professionals were on with me.
Mhm.
And being on that panel,
Spouses.
yes. Being on that panel, I so appreciated it because I got to hear all these different perspectives, different from my own. Because again, sometimes we get stuck in our own stories and in our own heads. But then this past May, I volunteered at TAPS, and worked with, it's like this whole big weekend of people who have lost somebody in the military. And so I was a clinician there and got to work with them. But I appreciated having been on your show and gotten some of that perspective. And then like going in and working with them, like it was cool. It was really cool. And then like to be in this big space, and it was mostly women, because they had lost a spouse in the military. Not all, but mostly women were there, and lots of kids. But I just remember sitting down, and Tawana, like I'm a widow, but not a military widow, but it didn't seem to matter. I just remember looking around that room and being like, I'm in a room full of people who understand. Like it was so powerful to me. And so I feel that same way. Like I talked about going and seeing my friend at the opening of her private practice. And I'm like, I think the more that we recognize the humanity and the similarity in each other, even through our differences, like the further we're going to get, which again, just underscores that humanitarian perspective I take.
Yep. That's good. That's beautiful. I'm glad that you were able to have a little bit of experience that led you to that.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I realized that I already gave a background on what you do. So for the people who don't know, you may as well just go on ahead and say what it is that you do.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. So I'm a social worker. I've been in the field almost 20 years now. I specialize in grief, loss, and trauma, particularly for children and adolescents. And I work in a very rural community where we provide free or pay what you can afford counseling to people of all ages. I see mostly children and adolescents, unless it's a grief or a trauma relation kind of thing, and then I might step into adult clients. But we provide all kinds of outreach and everything else. So in my doctorate program, I'm actually studying rural mental health because there's a huge mental health crisis right now happening in rural areas, and the gap between what's happening in rural areas versus urban keeps getting wider. And so like living in a rural area makes you 50% more likely to die by suicide, which just blows my mind that we're not doing more about this. And the suicide rate in rural areas is going up 20% at a rate 20% higher than in urban areas. Like it's such a thing. But then you look at like MSWs, like practicing in rural areas, it's about 7% of MSWs practice in rural areas. But it's like 20% of our population in America. It's like 60 million people, a third of which are children. And so when I talk about like, I just feel like we're a dying breed, and like I really mean it. Like there's nobody out here doing the work. And so those of us that are out here are trying to do the work of 1,000 people, and we just don't have the resources. So I just keep beating that drum of like, hey, like we need help. Come help us. This is an issue. This is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You gave me a perfect segue of a
Awesome.
video that I have pulled up.
Awesome. Perfect.
And it is about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I don't want YouTube to flag me. So I'm not going to play the whole thing. So I went through and I got the part that I wanted. And people can go, of course, you all can go in here later on your own and watch the whole entire thing. But it's about mental health and black mental health. And I'm gonna hit share screen so we can see it. And about depression. And this guy's a social worker. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Play.
No. Because see, here in America, when we think about mental health, we think about the homeless man who's walking the streets, talking nonsensically to themselves. We think about the white celebrity who takes their life via suicide. We think about the white mass murderer who goes into a high school and takes the lives of innocent children. Or it's usually your president who loves to tweet venom from the hip. But see, rarely does the conversation speak of a father of 2 kids someone who possesses a master's in exercise science, a master's in social work, somebody pursuing a doctorate. Rarely is it a person of color. Rarely is it a Black man like myself until now, because Black mental health matters. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is Black mental health and why is it differentiated amongst racial and ethnic lines?
So I didn't. There's another part that I want to get to, but since I didn't go ahead and look that up, I can't do it right now. But I think that was good. That was a perfect segue that you gave right there.
Right.
It was-
Right.
it was
Well,
very
it's
perfect.
the hidden, like in plain sight stuff that's
Mhm.
going on. I know I've got a friend who's working on just really fascinating work around perinatal health of women of color, and just like how we're missing postpartum depression so much, really pushing hard. And I think the American Psychological Association is on board with this, but pushing hard to do mental health screenings for a year after birth rather than just that 1 month 2 month period that they've done
Mhm.
historically, because we're missing it. um, and so, and I know we talk a lot about the African American man, and just there's so much there, like just this systemic oppression that's happened for so long, and then some of that's internalized. And so even when you're successful, like you're still getting pushback, and you're still having to deal with racism, and you're still having to deal with all of these things, and then of course we have genetics. Like some of us are just born with challenges in our brains, and then some of us live it, and sometimes it combines. And I don't think we can have these conversations enough. I don't think you can show enough videos. You just keep talking, man. Keep talking.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Is there anything that you want? Anything else that you would like to share or add that's been going on since your last appearance, or even it's just in 2022?
2022. Gosh. Well, I'm getting my doctorate, so I'm living and breathing school.
Yeah.
Like that really and truly is probably the biggest thing. I want to know. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to flip the tables here, Tawana. So how has your viewership grown? How have you grown? Because I see you like pulling up a YouTube video. Like I remember like the first time I was on, you're like, I'm not even sure about this technology. My son set it up for me. Like I don't know what I'm like. So I mean, how have you grown? How have you like?
Headphones. Well, viewership, I would say, has declined, and
Uh-uh.
particularly live. Yeah, I mean, I'm still at 130 subscribers, and
Okay.
then during a live, like right now, I'm at 4, and I
Okay.
know I am one of those. um, but yeah, so YouTube, it hasn't been like the greatest, but as you can see, like on Facebook, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just starting to like kind of take to heart that doesn't mean anything, because in real
Right.
life, people are noticing, people are talking. And so the comment right here, I was speaking about mental health earlier and the need for it to be normalized. This is an individual that in real life has
Mm-hmm.
noticed and picked up, and she has asked me to be a part of her Facebook group.
Oh,
And you probably already knew that I am on a nonprofit, which I'll share that a little bit later. But I tried last week to simulcast, like while I was live on the nonprofit. I tried to broadcast it on my channel. That didn't work out too well. Um, but it's about destigmatizing mental health
nice.
and drug addiction.
Good.
So yeah,
Good.
so I
Well,
try
and
to
so
mix
many
them
avenues for
together.
us to do. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think that's wonderful. And you know this because you're on my Facebook page. Like I talk about this stuff all the time. I talk about all of it, and sometimes people don't like it. And so I've lost Like during
Mhm.
COVID, I lost hundreds of people off my page. But I've gained hundreds too, because I feel like people want to talk about this stuff. They really do. It's just hard. And so I just feel like if we keep talking, and the more of us that keep talking and keep insisting on, yes, we do need to have these conversations. Like, we need to talk about substance use. We need to talk about how we as a country treat it,
Mhm.
and how we're exacerbating the problem and making mental health worse, not better. And just so much, and so much we can learn from other countries. We're so ethnocentric here as far as like Americanism, and we just refuse to like look at the lessons learned in other countries and how we can apply them to us and all of that. So yeah, I applaud you. I love that you're keeping at it. I love that you invite me on occasionally and I get to chat with you, because it's just fun.
Um, that's what I was supposed to be looking up that I was gonna share.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. This, yeah, okay. Look, I can't even form a sentence right now.
That's because
Okay,
you're
so
excited, and there's
so
nothing wrong with that.
I saw this article and then I shared it. I don't remember where I shared it. I'm probably probably on Facebook. So I am not going to share her video. You know, I was supposed to go back because my husband, when he read it, he actually watched the news clip, which I didn't look at that. I just read the title, I read the article, and then I looked at a couple of seconds of her TikTok video. But what I will do, I'm going to share so you can see the article, because maybe Erica saw it, so it just don't look too raggedy. And so this woman right here, okay, she felt very unsafe that she was harassed on the metro. Oh, this is on the metro. But when you read the article, it was just on in the metro station.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let me tell you. Well, let me tell you about my ideas and my feelings about this. While we're talking about drug use in urban cities and just being Black. So being here in DC, this particular metro stop right here, the Foggy Bottom, this is where she was. This is where this happened. This particular metro stop, well, you know what? A lot of the metro stops in DC have their normals. Oh, the dude is actually showing the video. Anyway, it's right near. There's a hospital there. It's the Washington,
Oh,
the George
sure.
Washington Hospital, but there's also a college just over there. And then across the street, there's a Harris Teeter. Or not Harris Teeter. Sorry, that's North Carolina. What's the store? The grocery store. I said Harris Teeter. Now I can't even think. The all natural store.
Fresh
Anyway,
Time? Not Fresh Time.
no, not Fresh Time.
I'm terrible at these things.
Why did I say Harris Teeter? Anyway, the metro station. Okay, there are regulars here in our Publix, on the metro station, on the bus stop, everywhere. There's regular people. Okay, so
Sure.
her complaint was that the dude was getting real close to her, and that he was making like sexual innuendos and making her feel uncomfortable, and he was in her space. Well, yeah, I can understand that she may have felt threatened and felt unsafe. I get that. But she claims that the Metro Police did nothing to help her in the article. And so she says that she called the police. And then there's a guy who got on the metro who told her, well, you're making us feel unsafe now. When I read it, I'm like, yeah, she's making people feel unsafe because she's doing the Karen. Like, now you're gonna call the police.
Mhm.
if the people who were around her did nothing and the police did nothing, that's telling me as a DC resident that this dude is like a regular. Like he
Right.
probably struggles with mental health concerns, or maybe he's an alcoholic or whatever, and he wasn't gonna do nothing. Which
Well,
takes me to
nobody
the story.
read the situation, right? Nobody read the
Whole Foods.
situation the same as she
Whole
did.
Foods.
Whole Foods, that's right. But
Thanks,
that
Erica.
tells me like maybe she really wasn't unsafe. Like if you're feeling uncomfortable and the people around you are not reading the situation correctly, like maybe that's just you feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like maybe you're not unsafe. Maybe you're uncomfortable, which I get is not fun, but it's also not a reason to call the police.
Yeah, it's not now. And then when and to be honest, right? And so this is also one of the things that I am going to work on moving forward is being fully transparent, because I am a human and
Yeah.
sometimes I have biases.
Sure.
Right? But
yeah, oh, absolutely.
I look at her, she doesn't belong. I look at her and I don't think that she even is a DC. Well, definitely she's not DC native. I'm not even DC native, but she don't look like she belongs. She don't look like maybe she's even here for college. I don't know why she was here. Like really not supposed to be no judgment. But if you are at the metro station and you feel unsafe, you are out of place. Like flat out, you are out of place because you're in DC. The DMV, if you're in the DMV, you know how our metros work here. Like, you're probably gonna see somebody over here having sex. You're gonna see somebody over here smoking. You're gonna see somebody over here peeing. You're gonna see homeless people. You're gonna see all of that.
Right, and you're probably gonna be uncomfortable.
You're gonna be uncomfortable, or you ignore them. You keep it walking. I've never been to New York. I'm uncomfortable. Well, yes, I have. Yes, let me take that back. Before I went to New York, I was ready to be uncomfortable. I told myself this, but it wasn't even that bad. Like people ain't bothering you. It's marginalizing. That's all it is. Undervaluing and under marginalizing people. So, which leads me to the story of why I also was upset with her. There's a McDonald's that my family frequents when one of my sons has soccer games and soccer practice. And this McDonald's is not one of the best McDonald's out there, but we all know McDonald's can be an unfriendly place anyway. But this particular McDonald's, we already know, isn't up to par. This dude walks in, hey,
I got done driving.
I don't know what the heck he's talking about, but he's just talking. It's like he's arguing, right? But he's talking to nobody. He's just talking. So I looked to go see if he was talking to the dude. Well, later, my son tells me that he was just saying like a meme or something that was on TikTok or something. But it was like he was joning on the dude. But he walked into McDonald's with his own hot dog, coming in for like some ketchup and mustard.
Oh.
So he came in with his own hot dog for some ketchup and mustard. He's just talking loud, saying things to people with it. And he's just going, okay. Obviously
doing his thing.
Yeah, but you obviously can see he's a case. I mean, everybody who walked in, he has something to say. My husband had on a shirt that said coffee, black like Wakanda, whatever. And he looks at my husband and he's like, yeah, don't gentrify my coffee. But my husband was like, I didn't even look at him. He's like, I didn't even engage. I didn't say anything, because what happens when you look at people, they're going to want to talk to you. It's going to keep going. All I did was I just kept looking.
Engagement.
Yeah, I just kept looking over there just to make sure that my kids were good. You know?
Yes, I do. My friend, I have to let you go. I'm back to
all right. Well, thanks for dropping in.
Crash the party. Absolutely.
No
Love it. Love you. Keep it going.
Take care. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Erica says, I was mad at this. We've been harassed so many times on the train. How many times? How many times we've been interviewed? Well, shoot, we also didn't go on TikTok and say stuff either. Like, we just dealt with it. Like, she went. I swear. I know. How did that happen? Even if we do go to TikTok and Facebook and all this stuff, how does that happen? How does your stuff get picked up? I guess, let's see, this is on that day. On that day, she had 6,775 likes. So I guess the right person saw it. She hashtagged DC Metro, DC Women, and Washington DC. So I don't know. It was the right people. Don't know. But and she's the right color. I mean, that's all to it. That's all to it. She's the right color. So it has been almost an hour. So what can I talk about real quick in the next 5 minutes? I already talked about Brittany Griner. These next things is probably, these other things that I pulled up would be something that would just keep me rolling and rolling and talking and talking. And so I'm not going to do that. So I will say, though, thank y'all for once again keeping with me for 3 years. If you go back, you can, like my son say, and some other people say, you can see that I have made a lot of growth. Part of that definitely is my devices, because when I started, I had a camera that you couldn't even turn the camera around. My phone was so broken. And us moving from country to country. But you guys stuck with me. Then what happened? But again, the family is growing, moving on. In the next few weeks, we'll be going to New York to drop off our oldest son. He's going to start his journey in life, and we'll be down to 3 kids. So, we're just moving on. My husband is retiring, so I won't so much be focusing on, we'll still be military, right? But we just won't be an active duty military family. So, but I still will have stuff to say about military. I'll still hold you in my heart, and I will still always have a vision with military. And I am going to, like I said, try to be a little bit more transparent, because I am a human, and because I was invited to join a Facebook group. So I'm going to be a little bit more open and honest with you guys about experiences that I have had. And also, when I share my opinions and views, be a little bit more transparent. I'm always honest with y'all, but I try to hold back a little bit to separate the person from the therapist and social worker that you guys have come to know. But hey, I'm still a person. So with that being said, and I'm going to make changes to the questions that I ask my guests. Can't tell you what that is yet, but you'll see as I have my next first guest for the shows coming up. And with that being said, you know what it is. The outro was on the way. Y'all take care. Thanks for sticking with me. Enjoy your week. This is Real Ram. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I would like to thank my guests for joining me, or simply thank you for watching the pre-recorded episode. No matter what your birth order is, how you self-identify, and whether you like pancakes or waffles. If this is the first time you're hearing it today, I want you to know that you are loved. You were put here for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be sure that you like and share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. This is Real Ram out. And don't forget to watch Saturday morning at 10:30. I'm out.